Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of TBR. I'm George Binge, your host, and our guest this evening is the Senator from the 2nd Essex District, Joan B. Lovely. Welcome, Joan.
Thank you, George. Happy to be back.
So we've had discussions over a while about how the Senate was changing the rules a little bit, that all the bills had to be heard by the first week in December.
Correct.
And is the budget going to be passed on time now that you've done that?
So the Senate, we did our budget last week. The Senate does it the week leading into Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. And we did get that passed. And we do feel confident that this budget will be passed on time by July 1st. It was a very thorough and good process.
Yep.
We really do feel that we met the mark. We did not raise any taxes in this budget. So there's no tax increases at all to be able to pay for what we need to pay for, to support the Commonwealth and our residents.
Yeah. Well, there was a push to reduce the taxes, and I get the impression that died along the way.
We did that last session. We did a big tax reduction bill in FY25. So, and that is on the table, and we have seen a reduction. But you know what? We are looking at a ballot question that will be on the ballot in the fall to reduce the income tax from 5% to 4% here in Massachusetts. We expect that to pass, probably overwhelmingly, and then we will have to figure out where we're going to make cuts.
Well, that raises the other question that the state has got 3 big bonds about to be issued. Mm-hmm. One is $3.4 million, and what are the other numbers?
We do bond for certain priorities.
Yeah.
We did a big environmental bond bill. Last session we did a big housing bond bill that was over $5 billion to really support and get our housing starts where they need to be. We need to see about a couple 100,000 residences built, housing built, and we've already seen 90,000 of that number either permitted or in construction or constructed. So that $5 billion bond bill has really started our housing starts again. Yeah. And it's difficult because we have, we still have inflation. Yeah. Our interest rates aren't as low as they used to be. And so people are waiting. They're either not sizing up or not sizing down. So we're waiting for the economy to still make those corrections, but we're not waiting to build housing.
Well, that's the whole game, is you got to have the housing available to keep the prices down.
Correct.
And there's a couple examples that I've picked up along the way. Austin, Texas, for one, went in and decided they were going to build a bunch of apartments. Mm-hmm. And they did it when the interest rates were down, so that was another plus.
Right.
And they've actually seen the rental prices in Austin drop.
That's great.
Where the rest of the world, the rents are going up and up, and it's supply and demand. And
exactly.
They flooded the market with units, and it has the effect of driving the prices down so people can afford it. Yeah.
That's
and
right.
The same thing is with houses. If they're not available, the ones that are available will go through the roof.
That's right. And so that's why we did the MBTA Communities Act to rezone in our transit zones, to be able to encourage more density. And people will move into these denser areas because the train's right there, the bus is right there, and they can get back and forth to their jobs.
Yeah. Well, that gets to be another problem that we have here in Beverly, and I guess in a few other areas, that when you build a condo, according to the rules and regulations, it's only 1 parking space per unit is required. that assumes that you've got a very good public transportation system, because if you build a condo, it takes two people working to afford it.
True.
And chances of them working at the same place,
Right.
not too good.
So that
So
they
that
need two
you're going to go
cars.
off in two different directions.
Right.
That normally means two cars.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets very interesting trying to figure out how they make this work.
Well, take a look at downtown Beverly and downtown Salem.
Yeah.
There's been building because of the train stations.
Yeah.
Salem's is the busiest train station in our area. I think next to Boston, we're the second, or maybe even the busiest. Salem, Beverly, because
Yeah.
they feed each other.
Yeah.
And you look down on Rantoul Street, a lot of building.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are taking advantage of getting on the train in the morning and not either having to remove their car from the parking space right outside their unit, or they don't even have a car.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to encourage.
Yeah. And the other half of the problem is they still need transportation within the city. And I'm not sure whether Katia is going to do that job, because
We're working on light rail. We're working on more frequent service. I will tell you, I drive in and out of Boston. I'm in my car for an hour and a half each way.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I know.
15 miles. My staff, my team, most of them take public transportation. They're in the city in 35 minutes.
Yeah.
They're not sitting in their car like I am, but I rely on my vehicle because I need to be in other places
Yeah,
throughout the district. But we do need more frequent service, so light rail is the direction we're going.
yeah. And they've been talking about electrifying that rail for quite some time.
Yep.
And this gets me back to one of my favorite things of the difference between the U.S. and China in getting things done. And that's another long story. Go on
Well,
for a while.
we do need we do need help. Cities and towns and our state need help from our federal government.
Yeah.
If you're going to make these types of investments, it's going to come at the federal level to support every state, and so we're reliant as well.
Yeah. So that gets to be another issue of with the state being in tough financial straits, just like everybody else. Are we getting the kind of support we need from the federal government?
Well, we've seen cuts. Medicaid, every state has its own Medicaid program, and here in Massachusetts we call it Mass Health. And there's going to be new regulations at the federal level for people who declare their eligibility twice a year, and work requirements. And so the federal government's putting those in place now, working with, for example, Mass Health here in Massachusetts, to make sure that people are able to comply. And then we could get into healthcare for all. You and I are both on Medicare,
Yeah.
which is and then you have your supplemental. It's pretty good insurance, and so then we hear Medicare for all, or Medicaid for all, or healthcare for all,
Yeah.
and so that everyone has that opportunity. But again, it comes at that cost that we need the federal government to participate.
Yeah, it's a medical systems is a huge problem. That fundamentally there's not enough hospitals, and I ran into that personally trying to get an operation, and you got to wait 4 months.
Right.
Not so much because the doctor isn't available, but because he's got to get an operating room.
Right.
And I've had discussions with some of the doctors that do anything you want to me, but don't take away my guaranteed operating room, because they are allotted just so many times.
Right.
And you look at the problems they're having with the hospitals shutting down.
Community hospitals that
Yeah.
the local communities rely upon. It's
I
that's
think we're very fortunate here in Beverly and Salem.
yes.
That there are well-established hospitals.
Part of a bigger medical system,
Yeah.
because, when you're a small system, you're relying on what your revenues are to keep the doors open. When you're a bigger system, you can spread that out.
Yeah, so there are advantages to it that it's challenging to keep the system up and running. But I guess one of the things that still bothers me is that we're going to produce a balanced budget
Yes,
by law.
by law.
By law. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
States cannot deficit spend.
Yeah.
Only the federal government can.
So we get into this situation where this year we got 3 major bond issues that are coming up. There's going to be charges on that. They're going to have to pay off the bonds, so that's going to affect the spending.
Yep.
And I guess we get into a question of how many bonds can we afford to issue before it starts to impact the services that we expect the
Right.
state to produce.
So as a state, we're kind of middle of the pack when it comes to how much we borrow, across the whole country. We're not the highest, we're not the lowest. We're somewhere in the middle. One thing that works to our advantage, George, is we have almost $8.5 billion in our rainy day fund. So our bond rating companies take a look at that. That's good. That gives us a better rate.
Yeah.
That's why we don't want to spend that down unless we have another pandemic or something incredibly serious, because that gives us a very high bond rating, and that's helpful so that when we do need to borrow, we're able to borrow at a lower rate.
Yeah.
And that's been intentional. I will tell you that's because of the pandemic. We saw a lot of money, ARPA, come in from the federal government. Massachusetts received overall, between individuals, businesses, and state and local governments, about $450 billion. That really did jumpstart the economy. People spent money.
Yeah.
That generated taxes. Taxes came into the state coffers, and we put it away in the rainy day fund. We put away as much as we could. When the pandemic started, we had $4.2 billion, and we had to spend half of that during the pandemic. But when we got those dollars in, the taxes were flowing in because people were spending money, keeping the economy going, we socked it away. And that's why we're at about $8.5 billion.
Yeah.
Historic. And it's smart, conservative, and we're in good shape.
Yeah. So in this budget that's coming through, anything in it for the 2nd District?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was able to secure some earmarks, particularly for Beverly. I do talk to each community to see what their priorities are, and for Beverly, that was 2 police cruisers. They need a couple of new police cruisers. Public safety is 24/7, 365, and we have our officers in those vehicles patrolling the city round the clock, year round. So that was $100,000 that we were able to get for the city of Beverly to purchase 2 new police cars to add to their fleet. So that's what we were able to do. But we did get some other funding across the district. For example, I have this program that I created with the Alliance of the YMCAs, the Massachusetts YMCAs, called the Homeworks program, because when I was running for office, I toured a really broken down motel over in Danvers. It was just on its last legs, and it was stuffed with homeless families. So this was back in 2012, before we had our immigrant emergencies just a couple of years ago. And I saw children playing in the parking lot, this oil-filled parking lot, and they're drawing chalk drawings around their bodies, laying down and in the parking lot. And I went to the state and said, why aren't these are all school-age children, why aren't they like in after-school programs, and are there other summer camp programs for them? Nothing, because transportation. They couldn't get them to and from the motels. So we created this program called the Homeworks program, and I get that funded at $800,000 a year, and it creates scholarships, so that a homeless child that's we're not using the motels now. That is off the table. I'm thankful about that. I've never liked that model. It's too expensive, not good for families. So, but we still have kids in shelter with their families. And now they get to stay after school, do homework club, play basketball, all the things that their peers get to do. And then they have summer camp as well at the YMCA. When the kids go off to summer camp, our homeless kids are there too. They get the same experience. It's not their fault they're homeless.
No.
So we were able to get that as well. And, one of the things, the YMCA, again, the Youth at Risk program, so we're serving mostly teens that are at risk. So we got $700,000 for that programming. And then a hunger-free campus. So we're seeing that kids are going off to college, and they're, these may be non-traditional students. They have, they might have a child or two that they're just trying to get their degree, and they're choosing between books and tuition and food. So we created this program on our public colleges and community colleges called the Hunger Free Campus Initiative, and we fund that at $500,000 a year. We were able to get that in the budget too. Mm-hmm. So they can get a voucher and head into the cafeteria, have lunch, and most or if not all of our college campuses, public again, have food pantries right on the colleges, so the students can go in and pick out whatever dry goods. And usually the mobile market will come around with fresh produce and fruit, and want to make sure that people are fed.
Good.
Yeah.
So these are earmarks that you got into the system this year.
Yes, and I actually got a few more in from my other communities that I represent. One that I want to mention in particular is there's a veterans group based in Danvers, but it's North Shore Regional, called Operation Troop Support, and they put together care packages that they send all over the world to all of our active military personnel, wherever they may be based. And postage is a big expense. They're paying postage on these packages that are going. Postage is up, so I was able to get them a $50,000 earmark to be able to support that effort. And I share that with Representative Kearns from Danvers because they are Danvers-based but regional.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to take care of our active military personnel.
Yeah. What else?
Well, this is one that doesn't have a cost to the state. We are looking to put the National Guard, the Massachusetts National Guard. The birthplace of the National Guard is right on the Salem Common.
Yeah.
And they would like to put their museum. They have documents dated back to their inception in the 1600s, and they are not. They are cared for, but they really need museum quality space.
Yeah.
So go in the old courthouses in Salem, the Superior Courthouse, which is on the National Historic Register. So you can't go in and divide up these buildings, but they need historic preservation. I don't know if you've been in the old Salem Superior Court. The courtrooms are massive, and they would make great museum space to be able to display these artifacts. We got the language in there to allow that to happen, and then the National Guard will pay to be able to work that space out and put it back into, to preserve it and put it back into good condition to be museum quality. So we're very excited about that. Again, maybe based in Salem, completely across the Commonwealth, and our military personnel, the Adjutant General, Gary Keefe is his name. We've been working closely with this office to make this happen. So, yeah, we could, why not have it right here in our own backyard?
Oh, yeah, that's where it started. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very excited about that. Now, there were some things we didn't get in the budget, I will admit to you. The Salem Skipper. The Salem Skipper is it's a micro-transit. It's a van that will pull up for $2. You can pop in, and you can go anywhere. It's Salem, Beverly, and Danvers. It's going to probably cease its operation in August. Again, it was funded initially by ARPA dollars, so federal dollars. That's running out as of August. I tried to get a $2.5 million earmark in the budget to continue it. I was not successful with that. We're looking at other avenues, but was not able to get that in the budget. So, but besides that, the budget, it was a good budget, and very, very happy with what we were able to get to support our local communities. If you think about it, George, Beverly, for example, doesn't have $100,000 to be able to spend on 2 new police cruisers.
Yeah.
So that's why that was a priority at the state level under my earmarks.
Well, the other one is that the millionaire's tax
Yes.
is bringing in more than the $2 billion that they expected.
Yes.
And by law, that's supposed to be limited to education and
Transportation. It is. It's a separate account. It does
Yeah.
not go in the general fund.
Yeah. So Beverly is struggling right now with the cost of education
Yes.
kind of thing. I guess a few other towns are some. So Beverly is not on the right side of Title 70, so it doesn't get the generous donations. Any chance of tapping into that millionaires fund and getting?
Yes, so we were able to send more Chapter 70 money, which is the education money, and then what we call UGA, which is unrestricted general government aid, and that's where a municipality is able to spend that unrestricted, not on, the state's not telling you where to spend it. We were able to see increases in both those accounts for our communities, including Beverly. We're also looking at a higher minimum in state aid per pupil, because I've heard from our communities, from the mayor, from city council, school committee. Each community is struggling right now. Beverly's looking at increasing their trash fee. Peabody's looking at instituting a trash fee. Salem has a trash fee, but for absentee landlords only. So people are rightfully, elected officials and our leaders are looking at how do we raise some additional revenue to be able to meet our bills.
Yeah.
And so, yes, there's increased aid coming in under Chapter 70 for education to Beverly and all our communities. It is based on a funding formula, and so, but Beverly will see an increase. Will it cover everything? Remains to be seen, but it's a real effort to be able to close the gap.
Yeah, that gets to another problem that we've got locally and I think it's happening around the state, that Prop 2.5 was instituted by law because of a ballot initiative.
Yep.
And it's held pretty well for a number of years.
Yes.
And yes, it's possible to have an override, but it's a challenge to make it happen. And now what I'm seeing happen in Beverly and a few other places is, we got a fee on that now. Because I remember when I first moved here, the city picked up the trash with their own crew and their own trucks, and it was part of your real estate tax. Yep. And next thing you know, there's a fee for it. Well, it's a small fee, so it slipped in without too much notice. Now, the struggle is that we got to balance the budget, and the fees are getting out of sight. $1,000 to play hockey.
I was happy to see that reversed. I heard from some parents on that. That's pretty, that makes it a rich sport. That has to be available to everybody.
Hockey is expensive enough as is.
True.
Just to buy your own skates and things.
Right.
And another $1,000 a year, it just cuts out too many people.
It does.
And it's a kind of a flagrant way to bypass Prop 2.5. That at least when you have an override, you've got to make a case for what are you going to do with the money, why you need it, and so forth. But if you just throw it in as a fee, well, it just went someplace. I don't know where it went to.
Right.
And
Well,
I think-
Salem just did a debt exclusion for a new high school
Yeah.
that passed.
yeah, so that I can understand. They said, okay, we need this kind of money to do this job exactly.
Right.
So you know where it's going.
Yep.
But this whole business about just adding the fee, I don't think that the teacher who coaches the hockey team as extracurricular activity is getting a big raise from that.
No, I would say not.
No. So
Right.
it's a different ballgame.
Right.
So,
So I am very hopeful we will have a budget passed on time. So the conferees for the budget were named. So we have 3 from the Senate and 3 from the House. I'm not a conferee. I don't sit on Ways and Means this session. But I'm confident that they'll be working hard to get towards those goals, to get a budget passed by July 1st. And if we don't, what we do is a 1/12 budget.
yeah.
But we're one of the very few states in the country that does that. So there's a real effort to get it done.
Yeah.
Yep. And
So-
again, no new taxes or fees in this budget. So
Super.
yes,
Oh, thank you very much for the long story. It's a busy year.
it's been busy, George.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and we'll keep going.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And as I mentioned, usually, you got a comment, send me an email. And if you got a longer comment, there's room for you here at the table. Thanks again for joining us, and stay tuned. We'll be back.